The first question I suppose to ask you is, what were the challenges you were experiencing when you first reached out to us to do the midlife method?
Yeah, I think it was a few things. It was a kind of holistic challenge. I could see in my body, having hit 40, 41, that it wasn't what it was before. And I've always been quite lucky. I've been relatively fit, relatively lean, relatively healthy, etc. But the things I was doing before were no longer working. And at the same time, I was kind of struggling with identity and all of those kind of things. But it was a kind of catalyst of, I know something different's going on for me. I've always been kind of an empowered, positive person, and I felt I needed to shift something to be that empowered, positive person going into my 40s.
So what were the changes specifically that you were looking to make? What were your goals? What changes were you wanting to make?
The first one, which was a really difficult one for me, because I've never been kind of body conscious, or maybe I have been, but I've been lucky enough to have a good enough body that it didn't really matter to me too much. But I could see in my body that I was putting on weight. I wasn't losing it. I was getting a bit of a wine gut, as much as a lack of exercise.
Wine waste.
Wine waste. And I wanted to change that, because that was something I didn't enjoy seeing, and it was quite hard to realize that I wasn't enjoying my body anymore. So I wanted to change that, but more than that, there were things about habits. So with the change in kind of career and things, I was losing my structure. I was losing the things that kind of got me up in the morning, and that drove me. And so it was like, actually, what are my habits? What are my good? What are my habits? And actually, what habits do I want to have, and how are they going to take me on this next journey? So I wanted the physical kind of changes, but I also wanted the habitual lifestyle reset, if you like.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. Thanks for sharing that, hon. And why did you think it was important to do something about that now? Obviously, you mentioned that you started to see the body change and some of the career change stuff, but why was it important at that moment in time that you signed up to work with us?
I'm quite in touch with myself and spirituality and all that kind of stuff, and it was kind of a coming together of all of those, and I couldn't not do it. I mean, I said to you when I reached out to you, you posted something about, perhaps you're going somewhere and then you realize, oh, that's not it, but you don't know where it is. And it was that kind of, I can't not do this now. It just all came together with what I was feeling in my body, seeing in my body, knowing that I've got so much more to give, but starting to get a bit bogged down in it. And then it was just that lightning moment of, right, now's the time. Now's the time.
And just on that, actually, as a sideline, like, what was life going to look like for you potentially if you didn't get that sorted?
That's a really hard one to probably admit, because, as I say, I'd always been positive. I'd always, been in control of where I was going. I've had a good career, and I've kind of jumped off ladders and on to do things, and always been very content with that. But there was definitely a feeling of, I couldn't see the next step, and starting to feel a bit depressed is probably the wrong word, but unsettled in my own ability to take myself forward, actually. So that was something I could sense on the periphery that I just had no desire to go into.
What was it about us that made you think, I've got to work with them?
I've been kind of on the edges, peering in. Going,
it's the best way. No, but it's the best way. So you build trust, right? I always love it when someone's been in our world for a while and they've built that trust. They know what we're about. But what was it that finally made you think it's got to be them?
I think there was a combination of things. Like, firstly, I mean, you're so engaging, both of you, and you're so full of fun and authenticity, and you love what you're doing, and it comes across, but it comes from a place of authenticness. You've been on the journey, and then you've committed so much to it. So it's not kind of quick fad things, and it's not kind of anything like that. We are committed to really helping you do what it is that you need to do, and that just comes across so well. And what kind of allows that is the fact that you've done so much kind of research and learning yourselves around it. So, I need to know why I'm doing something. I'm not going to turn around and have somebody go, right, don't do this. I'm going to go, well, why? Back it up. Back it up.
I'm the same. I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, that's what you guys do, and through the whole program that's been the case with, you know, some food ideas and support things. It's like, oh, if you did this, it would do this because of this. And I'm like, cool, I'll buy into that. Whereas if it wasn't there, I'd just be like, nah, not interested. So it's a combination of like who you guys just naturally are and the stuff that you've done to build up all of that knowledge, which you then just share so freely, that made me go, yeah, it's these guys.
Yeah.
I'm invested and I'm empowered. You know, I could see that I could
Yes.
come out of this with the ability to step into this next chapter. You know?
100%. Let's talk about what's different about the Susan that joined to the Susan that you are now. What would you say is different?
I think, you know, it's really important. And again, it's not something I've hugely concentrated on in the past, but my body is different. And that leads to me being different as who I am, right? Because our bodies are how we show up in the world and all those kind of things. And so, you know, from a kind of results perspective, from that point of view, I think I lost about 8-9 centimeters on my waist, on my hips in those 8 weeks. And that's still the same, although I haven't actually measured them the last couple of weeks. Yeah. But I can feel it, you know, I feel toned, strong, energized, all those things in my body. And that kind of tick box of losing that stubborn belly fat has been ticked. But that then allows me to show up differently in the world. You know, I feel excited about what I can now do. I feel reconnected. I feel, that I can take this next opportunity that comes along and be excited about it, rather than kind of starting to worry about what might be coming next.
Well, it's so true, isn't it? It's so true what you've just said. It's like how you show up in the world. So many people, it's not about a dress size. You know, it's about how you feel comfortable in your own skin. And then when you feel comfortable in your own skin, you do naturally show up differently in your life for the people that you love, for yourself, for the stuff that you want to do. And you feel more expansive and excited about the possibilities rather than hiding away.
Yeah. And I think that was the bit that was potentially, you know, different for me from others. Not that there's any comparing, but it's like I hadn't been on a journey with my body. My body had always been something I was all right with. And then for it not to be the case was like, oh, right, okay. What's that? What do I need to do about that? You know, so that was that was quite a realization.
And my final question, you've talked about your results there. Were there any other kind of results that you wanted to share? You know, so you lost how much around your?
I think 8-9 centimeters around one for my waist, one for my hips. I can't remember which way.
Amazing. And I don't know whether you did any of your other stats, did you, or did you?
I didn't do the body fat stats, but I did do my weight, which kind of did reduce, but also my muscle. I mean, I am toned.
I know. Well, on some of the calls, you've been like that. Check this out. I've got definition. I always love it when clients are like, look, my arms are changing. And it's, So your body shape's totally changed.
Body shape's changed. And that changes again, how I show up in the world, how I stand, all of those kind of things. And it's just, and my strength, you know, the core strength, everything. I love yoga, and I'm back enjoying my yoga because of that. And I hadn't been doing that. So it's kind of that catalyst to get me back into my body.
Amazing. And what kind of advice would you give to someone?
I would just absolutely say do it. You know, I think that's probably the hardest thing, is to take that step. Having watched you, how, you know, you can see stuff and you can kind of go, but once you go, okay, cool, I'm going to commit to this for myself, and you have to do it for yourself. You have to say, I deserve this, or I'm up for this, and it's a personal thing. You can't do it for anybody else. But once you're in, my goodness, the structure, the support, the people are just there for you from day one. And that's the thing, you know. There was probably maybe 1 or 2 times where I was like, oh, don't fancy doing it today, which is also okay. You can absolutely but there was so not that, because actually the structure's there. It's easy. It's 20 minutes of HIIT, it's 30 minutes of workout, it's whatever it is. You do it in your own home. And then you've got the support network of people kind of sharing their experience.
Who are just beautiful, right? My goodness, just created the most magical little environment for people to thrive in there.
It completely. And it's like, you deserve to be the person that this program allows you to be, is what I would say.
Oh,
got goosebumps.
I love that. Yeah, we always do that. I love that. That's an amazing thing to say. Thank you so much for agreeing to jump on online and do this with me today, because it does mean such a lot to James and I.